Hello, my name's Ruth Chalmers and I'm one of the children's allergy dietitians at St Thomas's Hospital. Today I'm going to talk you through labelling legislation when it comes to allergy and food labels. By law, under the Information for Consumer Regulation Act, there are 14 allergens that have to be declared. These are cereals containing gluten, which would be wheat, oats, rye, barley, and any hybrids of these grains, crustaceans, eggs, fish, peanuts, soya bean, milk and any dairy products, nuts, this would include your tree nuts, so things like almond, hazelnut, Brazil nut, cashew nut, pistachio, walnut, macadamia nut, celery, mustard, sesame, sulfur dioxide and sulfites, commonly this is more applicable in adults rather than in children, lupin, which is a bean not commonly consumed in the UK but often used in bakery products from the continent, and molluscs. Under the legislation, which was put in place in December 2014, all manufactured food, whether it's packaged or loose foods, have to be able to provide this information. On packaged food labelling, the information will appear in the ingredients list and will either be in bold font, italics, or underlined. So for example, say on a yogurt, it might have whey protein, and then in brackets might contain the word milk, and this will be either in italics or bold or underlined. Likewise, there might be a variety of fish that's not commonly consumed in the UK, but might be consumed by other populations, for example, something like tilapia. And again, this will state tilapia and then in brackets, fish, so that you know that it's a fish. When it comes to loosely sold goods, such as that you'd find in things like restaurants, delis, sandwich bars, etc., then although the information doesn't necessarily have to be on the packet, the provider has to be able to tell you what the ingredients are and whether any of the 14 common allergens were used in its preparation. This can often be more difficult because obviously you're then reliant on the expertise and knowledge of the staff. If you're unsure whether you've been told the correct information and whether or not a potential allergen could be present, then we would recommend that you avoid these foods. It's obviously easier to buy pre-packaged foods where by law they've had to comply with the labelling legislation guidelines, and therefore you can see whether the allergen is present or not that you're allergic to. So to summarise, the changing labelling legislation came into force in December 2014, and as a consequence you shouldn't find that allergens are in a may contain box any longer. And you can access the Food Standard Agency have produced a labelling legislation guideline which clearly shows the old labelling legislation and how this has changed to become in line with the new labelling legislation, where foods are actually listed in the ingredients list with the allergen in brackets if they're from an uncommon source. And as I said, it's the 14 common allergens that are listed, and these are agreed at the European level. And hopefully you now feel confident to read labels by checking the ingredients list and identifying whether or not the allergen you need to avoid is present and whether it would be safe for consumption or not. With regards to may contain or disclaimers, my colleagues will cover this in other videos, and hopefully if you need further advice then you can always contact your dietitian.